And thank you so much for having me today in the event. I know good morning and good evening if you're other parts of the world, and good morning everyone. And welcome to the Southeast Asia aMS Southeast Asia 2021. And it's such a privilege for me to present in this session in this event, and it's such a privilege to start the session. The second day of the event as well. And yeah, before going into the session, so big thanks to the sponsors. Without them, this would it's not possible to conduct such a massive event with all of the supports from those sponsors, and also thanks to organizers and all the attendees who are been supportive since the day one. And so I believe there was lots of information being shared about the quiz. So don't forget it. You have questions at the end of every session, and you scan it, and then you get a chance of winning the rewards. And a quick introduction about myself. Jeevarajan Kumar. You can call me Jeeva. So I'm based out of Singapore. So I'm working as a solution architect in Avanade, Singapore. I'm also a Microsoft MVP and MCT. So I'm an MVP in Microsoft Business Applications category. And below is the links to my social media profiles, where I have Twitter handle and I have LinkedIn here. You can also scan this QR code to connect me on the LinkedIn. So at any point of time, if you have any queries or if you want to discuss something on the Power Platform or Dynamics 365, please feel free to reach me out. So with that, so I'll get into the session. So if you see, the word demo is gone here. So because initially I thought, what I felt is there are too much emphasis on the demo. So since we are in the business track, I want to give more holistic approach first about the Power Platform and what's the business value that the Power Platform brings, and then step into the demo. Of course, we have the demo, but that's not the only part we are going to cover for the day. And please let me know if there are any questions. Okay, so please feel free to drop the questions in the chat, and I'll be able to address it after I complete my presentation. So just to give you a heads up, so what are we going to see today is we're going to see why we need the Power Platform. So what is the gap that really Power Platform is going to address, is addressing right now, in fact, and then the introduction about the platform itself, and what are the individual components that the platform has. And and we have certain initiatives or called strategies in the Power Platform area, which will help for any organization to kickstart something and how to make a successful implementation. So we're going to see all this quickly. So there's going to be lots of information, and I'll try to cover as much as possible and as simple as possible, so that you will be able to recollect it when you're out of the session. And I'll be sharing some reference links as well. And as I said, despite all this, please feel free to reach me out at any point of time if you need any queries or information on that. So with that, the first thing we're going to see is why Power Platform, right? So before that, why we need something called low code applications. Yeah. So if you see the key financial findings as per Forrester Consulting, you can see that the low code platform has actually reduced the overall development cost by 48%, and the return on investment will be up to 502%. Like, they have done lots of research recently, and this is the latest published they made on the February of this year, and you can see the benefits of the present values will be average of $31 million, and you can see there's an increase in operating revenues up to 1.5%. This is such a beautiful figures to see, and you can see how interesting the Power Platform is, or the low code platform and the Power Platform is going to do this revolution here. And the next one is from another recognized organization, the Gartner. So they have this special magic quadrant, right, for the enterprise level low code application platforms. And as you can see, it's very obvious that Microsoft is the leader in the 2021 Gartner for enterprise low code application. And you can see that 92% of the Fortune 500 organizations are using Power Apps, which is Microsoft's low code application platform. And you can see that there will be, by 2025, the 70% of the new application will be for developer enterprises will be using low code or no code technologies. right? Which is right now we are in 20 to 25% last year, and you can see how it would be like in 5 years what we are projecting into. And you can see the next 5 years, the expectation is there will be more apps built than what has been built in the last 40 years combined. And that's where we're heading into. It's because of the so much of demand in the business processes, right? And the way the mobile apps, the demand for mobile app grows. So that's where all this aggressive, or I would say like quick development and deployment approaches has been getting famous. And that's where the market has been heading into, and that's where the Power Platform also jumps in and the saves us from from falling into this or lagging behind this application development race. So that's a big problem, right? So that's a very big problem, and because we are talking about here, like we need a 5 times, or the next 5 years, we need like application that has been built for last 40 years. That's the business demand. So how are we going to cater that? As we just said, so the solution is going to be, I don't know whether you can hear the music. Yeah. Okay, so we talk about the Power Platform. So it's a low-code platform. It's basically spans across Office 365 and Azure as the base, and the Dynamics 365, which is the business applications, and any standalone application as well. And there are 4 key components of the Power Platform. So you have Power BI, which is your business analytics part of the Power Platform, and Power Apps, which will be application development, and the Power Automate, which is the process automation one, and the Power Virtual Agent, which will be used to develop intelligent chatbots without much of code. So all of this, the beauty of all of these components is we are going to see how it can be built with really less code or low code, and sometimes no code as well. And the base, you can see it uses the data connectors and the AI builder, which basically behind the scene uses some Azure cognitive services, but even that has been given in a way that like anybody can go and train the AI model to use it in the app. And the main thing that lies behind and supports this is the Dataverse. So we'll see all these things quickly. What are these components meant? Good. Yeah, so the first thing is the Dataverse, right? So behind the scenes, as I said, the Dataverse is the one that powers the Power Platform and also the Dynamics 365 solutions, such as if you have used it in your organization or heard of it before, you have like sales. Microsoft have this their own sales first-party app solution, and then customer service, field service, marketing, something like that. And you can see the overall offerings, right, of the Microsoft the Dataverse, right? So you can see it's basically, okay, to let you know what is Dataverse first. So it's basically a cloud-based, a structure of data, and also complex business rules and business logics that's been interconnected and it can be extended as well. So whatever we see here, it's all like each and every feature or the component of Dataverse, which is used to provide a complex business solutions in real time, right? So if you see start with the first one is the security. So you can see the Dataverse can handle security at high level from using the Azure Active Directory, and also it does support the minor role level security as well. So we are talking about right from the giving access to an application or not, and all the way to whether giving an access to a specific field or not. So that kind of flexibility, the security in the Dataverse can offer. And the logics, you can see there are lots of inbuilt or engines or workflows which can be used and extended to build the logic, right? So regardless of how the user going to interact with the data, whether it's going to be from Power Apps or Canvas app or model-driven app or the Dynamics 365 first-party app, doesn't matter. So end of the day, the business rules can be built based on these things. And the data, so you can see there are lots of like different components and controls that will allow us to basically shape our data and allow how we can discover and model the data and validate the data and build a report on top of our data. And So this is the lowest, and this goes all the way from the. So this is the ISN goes all the way from the lowest, what is being built internally, right? And how can we extend that? So next is the storage, right? So you can see that Dataverse stores physically data in the Azure cloud, and this cloud-based basically removes the burden of IT team or of the customers to maintain any of this complex data. And finally, the integration, and you can see there are lots of integrations options available, right, from Event Hub or even Service Bus or webhooks, like exporting to SQL, and so all these features can be used and extended when we implement it. So this is the Power Apps itself, the Power Platform itself will be using the Dataverse, but as I said, we can be. It's not just restricted to Power Apps, but other components of the Power Platform as well. And then now, so next block we are stepping into is the Power Apps, right? So what is Power Apps? So with Power Apps, you can basically build an app quickly using the skills that you already have. That's where the whole, the rapid application development starts, shaping up. So when I say the skills that you already have, you're not talking about your, being a developer or learning, like a whole new crash course on development, nothing like that. Here we're talking about, most of us have been using Excel and simple Excel formulas. So here we're talking about using those kind of formulas and dragging and dropping, like how we do it in a normal, like PowerPoint, something like that, and build an app by ourselves. So when I say ourselves, I'm talking about the business users, whom we call as a citizen developers, right? Business users or the customers, or business analysts, someone with basically not a pro developer, so-called. And these Power Apps, actually, we can connect to the multiple cloud services and data storage services that we are already using. If we already have using certain data storage or external or existing application or legacy applications that we already have in our system, in our business, in our organization, we can build on top of that and extend it. So if I can give you an example, let's say we have a SAP or any application that does any ERP or financial processes, and we think the internal claims applications or external any application that we want to quickly automate it. If HR team or let's say audit team feels like they are doing lots of manual paperwork. Just to give you a small example, right? If let's say they're doing lots of paperwork, they can just quickly for themselves with the help of IT team. They can they come up with an idea, they can build an application by themselves, and they can take it to the IT team, consult with them, to make sure there are no security leaks or anything like that. And then they can roll out of the apps and they can just use it within their team, or they can share it to their external other teams if it's successful. And it's not going to take much time, and because they don't need to learn any new skills, because they already used to the Excel and the formulas, how to use it in the Excel. So that's what mostly going to be helpful for them. To build these kind of Power Apps applications. So there are two kind of Power Apps when you talk about. One is Canvas app, other one is Model app, right? So the Canvas app, you can see it's like basically it's like a pixel perfect application that you can build. Start with the design, and then you can connect to the all data sources which is available. And the model-driven app, we will have the data model first and the business process first, and we start building the interfaces to basically work with that. And internally they can work, you can have a Canvas app creator, and then you can have that also embedded in the model-driven app. That kind of flexibility the platform provides. So the next one, so if I talk about the how this works, right? We are saying that, okay, Power Platform, you're saying, you can ask me like, hey, Jiva, you're saying that Power Platform will you drag and drop, and then you just write a code like Excel formula, it works. So how does that work, right? I was going to simplify it. As you can see from this small diagram here, so as I said, it is built on top of the Dataverse. So which we just saw, like it provides the overall security and architecture and data modeling and business process behind the scene, which is being taken care by Microsoft. We just take it and build our business process on top of that. So that's why the Dataverse is the base over here, and you can see there are many features like this, right? So what we are talking about here is, the next one is supporting the fusion teams, right? So I just told an example actually, without realizing that we are going to talk about fusion teams. So we just saw that like there is a business scenario requirement for the, let's say, HR team to process any claims, because they're doing lots of manual work or process paperwork. So they thought, okay, they need some applications which they can use it within the team. Maybe it's a small team or huge, large team, doesn't matter. So they just went through like a couple of trainings within internally in the company, and we can see some quick trainings where I'm going to show you where you can learn. Like in a matter of day or week maximum, they will be getting used to this, and they can just build an app. But let's say they want to extend that app, or they want to which, let's say that particular feature or something is not available out of box. So that's where our pro developer can they can work together combinedly, and and they can build this successfully complete this application. And of course the IT team has to evaluate it, and they'll be going through certain process, which I'll show you later how they can do that. And then that's where the whole vision of the the business and IT and developers, everybody will come together, and they can be rapidly developing the application. That's the whole point about this, in fact. And so we call them citizen developers, right? So any non-pro developers who have lots of who are subject matter experts, and they can just start building the application themselves. So, and the enterprise, it's built on, as I said, it's built on the world-class identity platform, which is Dataverse, and then it has lots of analytics behind the scene, and it has governance built on top of this, so how you can control the data, security, all those things. So it's an enterprise level reliable, and it has the support to build all these enterprise applications. And then it has the superior innovation in a way that you have advanced AI and makes it reality, and hyper automation, all this the cool technologies that we are talking about here, where we are heading into which will be more used going forward in the future. Like for example, if I talk about the this GPT-3, right? It's basically a natural language processing model that just released recently, where I just told you now, like exactly 5 minutes back, that you can have Power Apps and you can write formula in Power Apps like Excel. But what if you don't even know that, right? What if you're having troubles to go, when you start writing, you'll feel like, oh, it's not enough, I need to learn more, because there are lots of, it's getting complex. That's where this new feature comes in, where it starts adjusting it. When you ask a natural, like, hey, can you please get me the 5 employees who are on leave for more than 5 days, something like that. You just type the query like how you search in the Google, and it's going to give you the formulas in the Power Apps, and you can just use that right away. So those kind of great things have been happening. The product has been evolving a lot, and there are lots of great features being added like every single in a few days. So it's such an evolving platform. I suggest you take a look into that if you have not been used it yet, and definitely you love it. And there are lots of customer success stories that's been where the subject matter experts who had no idea about any of the technology thing, they just started and they have just made a wonderful things in a big huge organizations. I'm talking about like London Heathrow Airport, or Schlumberger and PepsiCo, many things like that. And you can see the success stories in the Microsoft official website. I will share that later. Okay, so coming back to the next component of the Power Platform is the Power Automate. So as you can see, the Power Automate is basically the automation, or basically a workflow engine that basically runs you to process your automated business processes, right? So right from a simple business processes, like if I submit an request, send an approval automatically to the manager, and manager approves it, do something. If rejects it, do something. That kind of from simple to a complex one, where we're talking about integrating with from your apps to, if you want to send your invoice to all the way to your current legacy ERP application, or send it to some other integration applications, and it can go complex. It completely depends on the business to business scenario. So the main, or the cool thing about this Power Automate is there are lots of connectors, which we're going to see shortly in the next screen. So there are lots of connectors. Right now there are what I see from yesterday is 555 connectors, right? And these connectors, this includes the standard and premium connector. So these connectors helps you to, which they can be something with a template, or you have a template as well, and then which uses connectors as well, where you can talk to all those systems or perform any actions basically, right? So let's say if you go and search for the templates, there'll be lots of different scenarios, common scenarios, which is been researched by Microsoft, and they've been provided in the flow.microsoft.com. If you go there and check the process like this, and you can also see lots of connectors where you can keep adding into your flow and keep extending it. It's kind of a building a Lego blocks, right? So you can keep adding based on your business scenario, and you'll be able to achieve what you wanted. And if there is no out-of-box connectors available, let's say there's something that is not available for to cater your business needs, that's where you can reach out to your development team, where they can help you to build a custom connectors, and it is to satisfy that specific business scenario, and you can just use it like any other connector in your apps. And the other next component is the Power Virtual Agent. So basically the Power Virtual Agent is another no-code platform. The intention of this, or the objective of this component, is to build a chatbot, right? Today, like everything is like first level of support has always been like, it's more common these days to go to a chatbot, and where the chatbot asks a set of questions and interacts with the users in the natural language, and then if it's not able to solve the problem, eventually it will translate into or transfer into the next level of human support, right? And so when being a subject matter expert, we ourselves can basically build these chatbots without writing again. It's again no code or low code. So where you can basically, you'll be writing things, or you'll be selecting things kind of like a flow chart. How you do, okay, if it happens this, then ask this. If it happens this, then you ask this. Okay, if you want to get some detail, and if you want to process the information with the data that we have in the system, that's where you basically call a Power Automate Cloud Flow or Flow from there to here, so that then the automation engine, the previous one which you saw, it takes that from the Power Virtual Agent and it sends to it does its own thing. So that's why the whole products get combined, and they work perfectly to do all this wonderful things in a short span of time. So you can imagine that so that's what I mentioned here. So it enables the virtual agent to take action on the customer's behalf, of course, right? So it's part of Power Platform. Therefore, there is no therefore integration to existing system is streamlined as out-of-box integration, and it has its own like with the Power Apps connectors as well, Power Platform connectors. And the next one is Power BI. This is the business intelligence or business analytics part of the Power Platform, right? So where you can use to create complex or immersive dashboards and reports to take for business or key personnel to take any action, right, on with the data. So we have just talked about creating an apps and then making life easier for people, and then automating it, or the whole business rules, how we can create using Flow or Power Automate. And then we are having a chatbot to have some automate to reduce the humans support. And now we have lots of data. So what's next, right? So we have to produce it in a way that it is being consumed, used effectively, and that's where the Power BI helps and jumps into the platform, and it helps the organization. And the next one and the last one, right? And the last one is Power Apps portals. Last one that we're going to see now is Power Apps portals. So this is so far whatever we discussed now, right? It's for our internal users and customers. Of course, you can give your Power Apps also to external users if they have the valid licenses. But this one is explicitly for the customers or the vendors or someone like that to access from their web page. And that's where like you expose the business process or the information that you like to expose and get them to interact. So for example, so if you're running any organization, right, you want to have a customer support. So like the external customers can actually log into the customer support page, like any support like Dell or Apple you take today, like same like that. You can see the frequently asked questions, and if you want to chat and you click on the chat, that's where your Power Virtual Agent comes in, and then you will talk to chatbot from this portal. And then if the bot couldn't resolve it, it will direct you to the user or the in-person agent, and you'll use this portal to basically, you can use this portal as a medium to interact with the customer support. It's not just end with the customer support. You can also see like, what are the tickets you're raising, the history of the tickets, and what you want to do. Like if there is any tickets which requires someone to come to your home and resolve some issue that you have in your laptop or something. You can see their appointment time, and if you want, you can also change it. So basically, all the interaction of the end users with our business data or the business can be achieved with this. And this is and why we're talking about low code here. This Power Apps portals can also be built by drag and drop at a certain extent, but the more complex it gets, and that's where you need the pro dev team to come and extend the feasibility. And the authentication mechanism is a cool part about this. So it's not just about a simple plain old username password. You can have link to Microsoft account or LinkedIn, Azure AD B2C and like OTP based passwords or something like that. So as you can see, it's again another what you get designer where you can just drag and drop things and build something on your own, and you publish it, and then it will be used by your end customers. So with that, we have covered what are the components of the Power Platform. So now I'm just going to give you a quick overview how the whole ranging from the citizen developers, whoever is the subject matter expert in the respective business, and how slightly it goes to all the way to professional developers, how they can be involved in what stage, right? You can see from this interesting diagram, which has been created by one of a community contributor called Nicholas Kidman. So that's the credits for him. And said, I really love this diagram. So you can see, if you take the stage 1, right? So where citizen developers, just a sample scenario. Well, this is not 400, it's 555 right now. This is outdated, this connectors count. Without that, you can see that, at first level, completely, anyone like an HR or my complete finance team, someone can just go to the powerapps.com and they can just create an apps with, existing templates or, from a new, from the scratch, and then they can have their, choose any existing template from the flows as well, where I'll show that shortly. I know where they want to do something, go for some approval or something like that, and they will already have lots of Excel data from the Excel, and which they're tired of doing that by manually entering it. They can just connect that data, existing data, with Excel, which will be serving as a database, and then if there's a SharePoint or they can even host that application in the Teams. So which is separate topic which I don't want to go into detail, but the thing is you can also have database for Teams, which works within the Teams channel, and then for OneDrive or O365, something like that, right? There is no complex database, no so-called SQL or any complex things. It's pretty sorry about that. It's pretty basic stuff, right? Like normal data services which a user will use every day, and if he creates an application, it's pretty straightforward. And let's say he's going to get a little bit more, like he wants more feature, the team needs more feature. He thinks that okay, I need. It's not about just converting or let's imagine someone is submitting for a claim by applying in a physical paper or sending an email, something like that. So instead of that, we are going to say use a Canvas app to submit it. Now we are saying let's also have a model-driven app. Why? Let's say there are some back office administrator who want to see the manage and see and control the overall this claim process. That's where things get more complex, right? Now you see that model-driven app. We're going to see a perfect example of that, like Canvas app, model-driven app. What do I mean by someone using it at the ground level, someone using it at the back office level? We're going to see all of this shortly. And then we can have this Power Automate thing. So cloud flows or RPAs. So if I miss, sorry about that. So Power Automate has two things, right? Cloud flows and RPA. So cloud flows works with all the online connectors. And the RPA is basically your robotic process automation, right? You can have it running on an individual machine, and it does typical, you can just guide what to do, and then it will start doing it itself automatically. And then you can see it gets complex by, let's say you get the claims, you want to interact with the existing legacy ERP applications or current applications like SAP, Oracle, or Salesforce, or Dynamics, F&O, something like that. And slowly, where you will need, you feel, okay, you need support from IT team, and that's why slowly the professional developers comes into the picture and start helping with you this. And if you get more complex, right, you want to use all complex integrations and with multiple data platforms, right, and to make it real time and processing huge amount of data, and the things when it gets more complex, That's where you'll be working along with your IT team, and you'll be a subject matter expert, and you'll be giving your input, insights, and your applications that you have developed. And IT will build the behind the scene, like other monster stuff that is required. And collaboratively, you'll be able to pull it off and like release it as soon as early as possible. And having the business user interaction from the day one is nothing but agile, right? So that's the beauty of this whole fusion development, and that's where the concept of citizen developer working along with professional developers comes in and helps to build this rapid application development to address the demand that which we saw in the very first stages of the slides that we are heading into. And this is just a graphic, of taken from the. I'm going to share all these links. Don't worry about that, because as I said, this session is going to be lots of an information session. So, which, especially if you are new to Power Platform, there's going to be lots of info to digest in such a span of short time. But once I share these links, when you try to explore it, you'll be finding it absolutely fabulous, and you'll be very much interested to know more about that. Trust me. So you can see the overall fusion development, right? So you can see just a sample scenario, right? You have the citizen devs, like like office manager over here, an inventory management staff over here, and a field technician who goes and fixes something in the field over here, who has no idea about, who has never done any development or not developers themselves. Their role is different. And you have here, right, IT admin, system admin, and a full stack developer over here. And you can see how they come up with the idea, they collaborate with each other, and then the citizen developers will have their business gaps, and they basically start creating an app, or they propose an app, and then they start creating it. And then when it slowly gets into the development, the IT devs can come and see how they can help. And this is what it is, right? So you can see the business guy here saying about, hey, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. I can help, with APIs and data connectors and what he's trying to build. So that's how it works in a loop, and then and we'll be able to produce such a and address the business scenarios. Basically, that's the whole point about it. Now, so before we start the quick demo, right? So I want to talk about, when we talk about rapid application development, this is something which I cannot ignore to tell, right? Which is accelerators, readily available accelerators and solutions. So what does it mean? So Microsoft has already built certain, ready to use accelerators or apps in simple term, but it's not just apps, it's more complex than that. They have the whole process, workflow and everything behind the scene. And you can see the accelerators, so basically what's the purpose of this? This can be taken and we can use it for our business directly, or modifying it, or keep adding it more components on top of that, right? Like building a Lego. So, and there are various accelerators available for different industries, and you can see it's available for automotive, education, higher education, and school level educations both, and healthcare, media entertainment, non-profit, and telecommunications. And there are some solutions as well. We're going to see one of the solutions for the day. It's called return to work industry solution. Okay. So the goal of this solution, this is, again, if you have the trial and if you want to try this, you can right away go to your current organization, Office 365. If not, you can just spin up any trial, and you can just get it from the app source. And this solution which we're going to see now, it's very simple. You just download it like any other application, and it gets installed in your environment, and you can start using it right away. So the whole objective of this return to workplace solution is basically to support any organization in this pandemic, right? To return to the slowly, start returning into the normal work like it used to be before, and how they can plan it, how they can slowly onboard. Have the employees, different companies will have different style, right? Some will have like alternative weekly basis, or some will have a run in 50% capacity or something like that. And the typical stuff we go through is the employee needs to declare themselves every day, like they don't have any fever or anything like that, and they need to get a pass to enter the premise, let's say. So all those stuff, this solution takes care of that, right? And if the employee is vaccinated, and you don't need that pass. You can or you don't need. We can configure that also. So it's an end-to-end solution, which is cool. So let's quickly see that right shortly now. So if any questions so far? No. Okay, fine. So
Jeevar,
yeah.
Maybe you can find the question in the chat box.
Okay. Sorry, I just seeing now. Okay, then I think let me address this at the end of the session.
Sure.
That would be better. Sorry.
You can address them now or at the end of the session. That one will be good.
Yeah,
also.
I think this is at the end of the session. I don't want to.
All right.
Yeah. Thanks for that. Okay. So now, so let's say once you have the Power Apps environment, right? And as I said, if you see this from the, I'm going to share the links, by the way. I'll show you how to download this ready to work, return to work industry solution. So once you install it, so you're going to have, these three apps basically. So we have been talking a lot about this Power Apps, right? Last 30 minutes. So this is you can see these two are the model driven app, and this is Canvas app. So you can say, why do I care? Like, what does it do? Right, so the first one, the facility management app. So if I click on that, I think that's what I have it here. Yeah, so it's going to open like this, right? So this facility management app will be used by a facility manager to basically build his facility inventories to so each of the facility can be in different cities, and each of the facilities can go different stages of reopening or return back to normal, right? So some facility can have 50% occupancy, some facility can have only 20%, some facility is strictly blocked because of the situation in the zone or city, something like that. So all these things a facility manager can and do as the initial configuration, as setup. So if I start with that, right? So you can see the facilities. Let me start showing demo. It's better. Yeah. So you can see now there are a list of facilities that comes with this solution, but you're not restricted to this. You can add your own facilities, right? And you can see currently, if I see these two facilities are currently closed, it's strictly closed because of maybe there are too much cases in that region, something like that. And you can see this facility is completely open, right? It's kind of the phase 4 it's the other way around. Don't think phase 4 is strict. Phase 4 is like lenient in this aspect. And phase 1 is planning, like they're trying to do how they can do, and then phase 2 is like in between, all those things, right? So you can, if I open this one. So, okay, first thing, sorry about that. I didn't have the Power BI configuration here, but you can do that as well. So once you have that, it's going to show what is the current status about this facility, the employees, all those things. But yeah, I don't have that. Sorry about that. But I share the link, right? It's straightforward as well. And you can see the master data of this facility, right? So the facility numbers and the name and what kind of facility is that. And you are not restricted to what you see here. And you can add so-called columns or fields based on your business scenario, and can be like a simple text field like this to all the way for something so-called lookup here, which is kind of itself is another data center. Right now we have 3. It can be more, right? So let's see this quickly. And you can see the facility group it's been grouped under country, based on the country, and you can see the reopen phase. Right now the phase is in the phase 1. And this address and like checklist. What is the checklist? Like typically this phase, this particular facilities has to fulfill, right? Something like that. And if the transition, if you see here, so if they want to do for next transition, they can just do it from here, or they can also get it to the next level, right? So this is. So if you can understand the overall concept of this is to maintain the facilities, the locations, right? And the facility group is something which we saw now, which is the country. It's been grouped by country, and then it's been further grouped by the region, what I can see here. And then you have types, right? This is the master things. So these two are what has been used, is what used here, right? When I just show you quickly here, the facility group and the facility type. And then you also have, this is model driven app. Sorry for jumping into. started talking about the apps, the features. So this is the model-driven app. Okay, so you'll see shortly what is Canvas app. So in the model-driven app, you can see this is how you navigate between your forms, or so-called, like respective place where you'll do certain action or see the data, something like that. And the Power BI, unfortunately, I don't have, but if it would have been great if I had it. So you can see, the overall analytics and the reports based on what we have. But charts is something you can always have. It comes out of box if I configure it right. You can just like this is all like it doesn't require any additional license or Power BI. This is simple charts or graphs you can just do to basically see what are the facilities, all those things. Okay. And if I go to the next one, which is employee attestation. So this is where we are going to see when this basically captures the employee who has been checking in our facility, who got passed to enter in the facility. So as a facility manager, I can see who have been issued passes and for what facility and when did that happen, right? So all those things we can see from here. And employee sentiment, like, so basically organization, if they want to capture what is the sentiment of the employees, right? Even the organization is trying to open it, but they can also see how they are feeling about coming back to work, right? So these things been captured. It's the employee attestation, and whatever you see from your employee attestation, sentiment, and vaccination. These are all like back office users. What I'm seeing here, the whole model-driven app is like considered as like facility manager is a back office user who wants to see at high level view of what is happening when in the facility, who is coming in and what is the status, the vaccination status, all those things, right? That's where the whole power of model-driven app comes in. Now, where does this data comes from? Is going to be from the Canvas app. So this data, the employee attestation and vaccination. So when an employee enters into the premise with his phone, he will be doing all those things. Let's just go there. Let's just pause that for a moment, and let's come back to this model-driven app. And if the employee is also if he already has a pass, and if you want to bring some guest along with him for some reason, like a presentation or customer like that, so customer or vendor, something like that, they can actually have an entry request for guest as well. And that's what you see here. And there is one more tab. This is the main configuration as a facility manager, or maybe you can get who knows the business, they can set it up here. So for example, if I say attestation required, right, that's why I check the option. So if I make this to manual, it's going to verify my manual verification of the vaccination. Basically, it sends an approval or the email, something like that. If I do this to yes, otherwise it will not do that. So all this, like yes or no options, and what are the terms and conditions, how you want to look it like in the app, and all those things you can configure initially here, and which you will see how it looks in the app. Okay, and these are master data. So initially it comes up with all these countries, but when you feel like if you want to add more things like to facility type or to facility group or anything. So vaccination right now it's just added 3, right? But you can keep add more, and you can use it in the other way around, right? In the apps. So this is the overall view of this facility management model-driven app. Now let's see the Canvas app. So if I go back to this window, right? Let's assume that this guy Spencer is the employee, right? Who is going to the premise to get the pass to work, to return to the work. So the first thing is phone. This is I'm showing in browser, but it can be seen from the phone as well, right? So it's basically going to look like that. Don't get paranoid about this. Just a moment, right? Something like this. The reason I open this is to show it something like this. So in his phone, probably it's going to look like this, right? So if you can see, like initially he marked as neutral, so he's not. You don't know whether he should go or not, so that's where you see this. So the moment he does that, right, and the facility manager or the back office team can see, okay, this guy is not, it's kind of neutral, he's not completely feeling safe to return to work or something like that. And let's say if the Spencer wants to get a pass to a certain premise, he already saved this one, he already got approval. Let's say we're gonna check for more things, right? So let me see if Beijing has. It's closed, so let me see something else. Okay, let me check which one is open and come back to it. Okay, Berkeley. Yeah. So they are trying to improve 50% more than specified. So fine. So he wants to enter into, let's say, Berkeley. He goes there. He tries to. He just in the security area. He just fills it, and he wants to see like what are the area he basically want to visit, and you can see what is the availability of the seats there. And let's say he want to visit this area, for example, right? And then he selects next. And basically we are asking, the company is asking for the terms and condition that he needs to fill in and accept. And then he said, yeah, okay, fine, I'm good. And then if he says agree, so there are some business process running behind the scene, which runs by a Power Automate, and you can see he has got the pass now. Like he is successfully authorized to enter facility on October 16. Okay, so if he close and if he goes to his home page here, he can also see his pass that's been issued to him. This one, which he just got now. So you can imagine this one will be shown to the security guard. The security guard basically scans it in his another Power Apps or another Canvas app, maybe which he has, and then he will approve it or do something on that, right? We can imagine that. So once he does that, as a facility manager, if I go back to my facility manager model-driven app, I can see this new entry here, right? To Berkeley, this one now. Okay, and let's say if Spencer he has vaccination, he has done vaccination, right? So he can actually go and submit his vaccination status, and he can choose yes, I'm fully vaccinated. When was my final dose? Maybe like 2-3 weeks back. And let's say I did Pfizer because I got that one. And let's say select next. And here actually I can upload the vaccination card, right? And this is what is called model-driven app. Okay, I don't have anything to upload here. Let's say I do something like this, right? Basically, if you have a image or a PDF that the government has issued saying that you're vaccinated, if you upload here or the form that the company has, and then it will basically take it from there. You can see that there is no proper data in there, so it's not populating. Otherwise, it will take it from that what we're uploading, and it will show its lapses on this. So you need to get approved after that, something like that, right? So if let's say submit this, and next, and okay, so if I go back, I know this one. Okay, done. So if I go to my vaccination status, you can see, right? So Spencer submitted the Pfizer COVID vaccination. Okay, so this by default is approved. But if you want to have a certain business process behind the scene, we can always configure in our settings, right? Like it requires attestation, it requires a manual verification, then it goes for approval and all those things. Okay, and you can see it is not about a global. You can have a specific country or region as well. The whole settings. That's how we can segregate it. Okay, now this is the okay. I just take 2 more minutes, and let's say this is the app that we got from the Microsoft, and you have right. So what if I want to extend it, right? So what if you see here? What I've done is basically I just copy pasted this version, and then if you see, if you remember, when I try to get a pass, it takes by default today's date. Okay, I don't have a luxury to choose the future date and request an approval, and so that when I go to that on that specific day, maybe my process is much simplified. Okay, but I don't have an option to choose the day. So my organization thinks that I need that feature. So I say, okay, fine. As a subject, as the facility manager, I think okay, my employees needs to have a privilege to basically choose, a range of date instead of just on a specific day. So what I'm going to do is I've actually added a calendar control, basically, right? To basically choose, okay, I want approval from 19 to 22. Okay, next, and maybe the same place, and maybe same area, and select next. So which will eventually request for the future date. Okay, let's say if it's a future date, we want to have one more level of authorization or approval. So in that case, what I did is I written a Power Automate to basically, if I go to this, See, as an admin, so let's say I'm this system administrator, the facility manager, for example. So you can see Spencer actually requested from 1922 for a access, right? So in this case, I've added an additional approval, which was not. If you see the others, like 1 day approval process, I didn't get any request to approve or reject. But for future dates, and I have to do this. So if I approve only, then Spencer will get the pass, something like that. So if I approve it, he does that. So you can see where I'm doing it. It's a teams, right? So as an organization, I will have a team. My facility managers will have a team. It comes to my team, and anyone from my team can basically approve. So this is a small, like a demo to show how this process or the Power Platform can be extended. And if I show you, it looks, you can see, okay, hey, the application or the technology, so you did the calendar control and this approval process, but how, as a new person, how we can do that? If I show you what it is, you can know then how much it is. It's actually nothing, I tell you what. And this is the one that just took the request on the multiple day and posted into the teams to get the approval. Okay, if you see how it is done, so there is an okay, I'll show you that first. So if you see, there'll be only two things. One is the selected start date and end date. Okay, and next thing is this is all called the actions, right? The next action is to post it in the teams. That's all. And if approved, you do something based on your business process. You issue the pass. If rejected, you send the email, something like that. Okay. So if let's say if on reject, if I want to send an email, all I have to do is go here and I say send an email. See, like this, and it will ask me, okay. So I just from specific user ID, I can send it to the user who is applied. It will be, I can just get it from here in the context, and then I can just pass a subject and send an email. So this is how the Power Automate gets, improvised or keep adding into this stuff. Okay. So as a new person, if you want to start building Power Apps Automate, you can go here in the flow.microsoft.com, and you can see lots of templates, right? Create the task, if a planner. No, you can keep exploring it. Lots of contents to explore this one. And I have only, I think, 6 minutes for the Q&A. But I have last one. I'll close this one. There is something called COE Starter Kit. So what is COE? COE is an entity, right, that drives the innovation and improvement in the business, right? Like in any organization, if you're trying to strive, try with the latest technologies and improve the business process and stay ahead of their competitors. So that's why the whole purpose of COE team, right? And the COE Starter Kit is perfectly made for them to see and manage and governance and administer how the current organization, because see, the moment you start giving luxury to the citizen developers to build apps, right, there are going to be lots of apps. And how are you going to manage it? How are you going to control it? How are you going to make sure the security data is not leaked, right? All those things, that's why the COE Starter Kit will really help. It has 4 things, mainly 4 purpose: administer, governance, and the overall application. And also you can nurture more citizen developers to join the team and encourage them and train them they themselves can build the app for their business scenario. So in that way, we are reducing the burden on dependency on the IT and developers, right? And just a sample, you can see only 2 screens here. I just put 2 screens, for example. You can see as a dashboard, as administrator, if I have the COE Starter Kit, this is not, there is no license cost for this. This is absolutely free. It's just another solution, like how you install any app. This is just another app. And you can see you have lots of features here. You can monitor the Power Apps. Which means it will click on the overview of Power Apps. You can see all the apps that has been created in all this different environment and how many app makers are here. App makers are the one who are citizen developers who make apps, something like that. And further, like you can also see what a license is used, which one is not used effectively, which users are not that active, which users are creating lots of apps, which users are not that active. So maybe we can just remove them, or they don't need the license. All those things you can manage. Okay, that's how you start with. And how you start, there are good learning content in the Microsoft Learn, and there are great content in the community platform, which I'm going to share shortly after the session. And then you can start with having a trial plan created, which is for 30 days, or you can have it for a developer plan. Or if you are working in a recognized partner, you can also access from the partner portal, okay, which gives for 60 days, I believe. Yeah, and these are the links that I use. I'm going to share all of these things. And again, thank you so much, and please answer the quiz and win the prize. So let me quickly see the questions. So when we, okay, so yes, okay, here it starts. Does Power Virtual Agent come with a, no, Power Virtual Agent is a separate license. It's separate. It's based on the number of active session. So an active session is when the user starts it and ends it, or maximum of 24 hours, I believe. So I will share some details on that license, but it's not part of Microsoft 365. It's a separate license. Even though if you have Power Apps license, still Virtual Agent is a separate license. And not in my company's business standard license, at least. Oh, okay, that's the answer for that. Yes, you're right. When we create custom forms using Power Apps in SharePoint, anyone with edit permissions can edit the Power Apps form. Is there any way to stop anyone from editing the Power Apps form? Okay, so when you create custom forms using SharePoint, I'm not sure about that. How this SharePoint and Power Apps permission work, has the impact. But I can check on that and come back to you, because my expertise is mostly in the Dataverse with Power Apps and not with SharePoint much, to be honest with you. So I'm not sure about this, but I can check and come back. Hope that's okay. Yes, I will share the presentation slide. I need to learn how to create multi-driven app like this. Is that, yes, I'm going to share that as well. Yes, COE link. Great. So I think I'm gonna just share all these links and in fact the presentation also in the chat, and you can get a look at that. Yes, this is the one. Thank you so much, and thank you so much again for giving me the opportunity to speak in such a massive and a privileged event. And thanks everyone for joining today and sparing your weekend to learn something new. I hope I was able to give something what you are expected. Thank you so much.